Titania is back again, so I'm also back with another Ryuji video. This rotation is going to be quite similar to the one I used like last week or 2 weeks ago. There's some slight changes which improve the score, and that is okay, including Futaba. Futaba also obviously improves the score, but like excluding Futaba, the rotation itself has some changes, even though it's minor, but it does improve the score. The stage effect here is that the navigator stats are shared more to your team. Then when you hit a weakness damage, you will get more final damage. Boss gimmick, this one is annoying. It's the same one as last update. So the boss will have 2 fairy power stacks starting on second turn. Then to remove them, you need to hit it with a physical move. If you do not remove them on the next turn, so let's say turn 2 you don't remove them, on turn 3 the boss will inflict the debuff on you, which decreases your final damage. So you want to remove it. So pretty much for Ryuji at least, you need to remove it every other turn because Ryuji attacks every other turn. And this is the team. It's pretty much the exact same except for Futaba over Wind, because Futaba is just better. If you want to use Futaba on the other side, you can use the Wind here instead. The rotation is going to be 1-1-3-1-3, or you can refer to the previous video for the rotation. So Ryuji is our DPS. Nothing much to say for him. The card will be Meditation and Courage and 4-star weapon. I just realized I can upgrade this. Too late for that now. Anyways, and start screen. Our buffer, Leon very strong here. So Leon's rotation is going to be a bit different for this video. I'll talk more about it in the video, in the battle itself. Yeah, Leon, pretty much the best partner for Ryuji because of his ability to reduce HP, to buff crit damage, buff attack. So he's running Trust and Prosperity, the 5-star weapon, stat screen. Then our sustain and debuff is gonna be Soi. Soi is important here because of his skill 2, which is a physical move. You can also debuff and remove the fairy stacks. It's important. Then I'm actually running a Trust and Power set, not Departure Control. If you're using Wind over Futaba, then you might want to use Departure Control instead. The reason why I'm using Trust and Power is because there's so much debuff already. Futaba's debuff is too much. It's like 60% over 40% from Wind, so it's like 20% difference, and Departure Control also debuff like 23%, so I can just remove it and then replace with Trust and Power, which can buff attack. We have 5-star weapon for more debuff also, set screen. Then Futaba gonna do Futaba thing, can debuff, buff. She's running a Resolve and Label set for a bit of extra debuff, 10% debuff. And we got the 5-star weapon, set screen. So for Dagger, I'm actually using Ex Machina. The reason is because I already capped the defense with the Eye weapon. So you have to calculate the defense yourself. And I'm choosing Ex Machina because the Ex Machina also gives like an attack buff to your team. Even though the percentage here is 13.6%, which is lower than the 14% here. It's lower, but I think the attack buff makes up for it. I'm not very sure. I didn't actually test the difference between these two, but I think Ex Machina is better. If you want to play safe, you can just use the Eye weapon. No problem. Then for Persona, Omokuten, I gave him Rakunda so that on the second turn I can swap to him and use Rakunda because of Automata Rokaja. Then make sure you put him as the first one for the passive also. So crit and attack buff for 3 turns. And Chernobog just signature move and the highlight. Rakunda not needed if you already have on Komokuten. Then Dionysus just needs the Tarokaja because crit rate buff is useless for Ryuji, but crit damage is good, which Dionysus can do. For turn order, very specific, has to be 1, 2, 3, 4. In the previous video it was Leon and then Soi, but this one must be Soi and Leon, which I'll explain in the video why. It's something to do with the healing. So we'll skill 2. So the rotation for this video and the video for the last update is slightly different in that Soi moves first instead of Leon, and then Leon will use skill 2 instead of skill 3. So usually we use skill 3 first over skill 2. It allows your DPS to take damage, and when they take damage, the HP will reduce, and that allows Leon to reduce the HP even more. But for Skull, you want to use the skill 2. The reason is you want to activate the rebound. So I made a mistake in the previous video, and 2 out of 3 skill 3, Ryuji skill 3 has no rebound, so he does a bit less damage. So they just optimize it a bit more. And then we do a Chernobog. So we need to hit 2 physical hits on the first turn so that you can highlight on the first action of the second turn, which is next turn. And then we use skill 3. The nice thing about Ryuji is that he uses HP to use a skill. So if you use this right, the HP will fall below 60%, which means that you can activate Leon A6 later on. Now we do a Futaba skill 1. So debuff the defense, activate Data Stone. Then we can use our Skull highlight. This is to boost up, do a bit of damage as well as boost up his skill 3 later on his turn also. Then I'm just gonna gun everything. Only do this if you are MESSA Synergies 5, so that you can regain the bullets later on. Then you can use Leon skill 3. So you see that Ryuji has less than 60% health. It's great. And then we do Komokuten Rakunda. So this is different from the previous video also. Giving Rakunda to Komokuten is better because Komokuten has Automataru Kaja, which means that Ryuji will do a bit more damage this turn because of higher attack. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Almost 600k. And we do a skill 2. Sadly, we cannot really fit skill 3 anywhere except for the last turn, because Ryuji attacks every like even number, right? It's turn 2, 4, 6, so it's very hard to sync the skill 3. And the skill 3 then skill 3 cooldown is also 8 turns, 8 actions, which is 2 turns. So it's more difficult to sync. So the reason why we put Soy in front of Leon on this very turn, we use a Soy skill 3. This will heal, which is kinda bad for Ryuji, which is why you want to heal first, and then you use a skill 2 to reduce the HP. If it's the other way, you use a skill 2 first, then you heal back up. There's no rebound, no more rebound, right? Because it's full health. Then we do a Journal Walk highlight, because we still need to do 2 physical hits every turn or every other turn to make sure that Ryuji's skill 3 do big damage. Because if we don't, the boss will reduce our final damage if we don't remove the fairy stacks thing, which we already removed this turn because we attack twice with physical move. We use skill 2, charge up. We do a skill 1 again. Skill 1 here is not really useful because the debuff is still active, but we don't really have any other choice. Then we do skill 2, debuff. And we do skill 3. The same thing is below 60% because Ryuji uses his own HP to use skill 3. Then Dionysus Tarukaja. Let me see. 650k. That's good. And we do a skill 2 here. Again, skill 2 also not really useful here because, you know, it's still active. So yeah, we just refresh the timer. Now we do Leon highlight on Ryuji. Rip off the crit damage. And then we do another skill 2. Leon will also skill 2. Then we do a Churner Block skill. Then we charge up with skill 3. Get ready for the last turn. Then we can skill 3. The last turn is a big damage turn. Target Ryuji. This will buff his attack, I think. Then increase even more damage because it's weak. Weak will become even weaker. Then just spam gun and debuff. Leon skill 3. Then Skull highlight. This will buff his skill 3 damage, as well as doing damage himself. Then Rakunda. Then let's see how much he does. Oh, 1 million. That's good damage. 15.7. That is pretty good. And you know, the stage has 3 times the effect now, the points. So inflation is real.